Hello everyone, my name is Dylan Miller, and today I will be presenting my final project titled The Timeline of Cryptography. Starting at around 1500 BC, we have the earliest known encryption. It was discovered that a Mesopotamian scribe had encrypted a recipe for a pottery glaze using a simple substitution method. In 400 BC, the Spartans had created what was called the scytale. That was a tapered baton that had a spirally wrapped strip of parchment or leather on it that had the message written on it. When unwrapped, the letters were scrambled and formed the cipher. However, when the strip was wrapped around another baton of identical proportions to the original, the plain text reappeared. Somewhere in the middle of the 4th century, Enos Tacitus had written the very first article that had actually described cryptography. In 850 AD, the Muslim mathematician Al-Kindi or Al-Kindus wrote a manuscript on deciphering cryptographic messages, which introduced new methods on how to decrypt ciphers. In 1379, the very first known European writing on cryptography was written by Gabriel de Lavende of Parma. It was a ledger that contained a set of keys for 24 correspondence and embraces symbols for letters, nulls, and several two-character code equivalents for words and names. In 1412, Al-Khalqa-Shandi wrote clear instructions on how to cryptanalyze ciphertext using letter frequency. In 1470, Leon Battista Alberti published treatises on ciphers in which he described the first cipher disk and conceived the notion of polyalphabeticity. The cipher disk was an enciphering and deciphering tool that consisted of two concentric circular plates mounted one on top of another. In 1563, Guillaume Battista de la Porta wrote the notorious secret literature that had the earliest example of a digraphic cipher, a cipher that substitutes a pair of letters with a different pair of letters or symbols. In 1820, a famous book cipher called the Beale cipher, which supposedly had the location of a buried treasure in Bedford County, Virginia within it, was written. The treasure to this very day has yet to be found. In 1860, the United States Army Signal Corps was founded. It is responsible for creating and managing communications and information systems. It also still exists today. In 1915, Theo A. van Hengel and R.P.C. Spengler invented the first rotor cipher machine. In 1918, the ADFGVX cipher was employed by the German Army during World War I. This system used a 6x6 matrix to substitution encrypt the 26 letters and 10 digits into pairs of the symbols A, D, F, G, V, and X. In 1919, the Enigma machine was invented by Hugo Koch. It was originally employed for business purposes until the German Army adapted the machine for wartime use. In 1974, IBM, the International Business Machines, submitted the patented Lucifer algorithm that was to become the data encryption standard, meaning that it was to be used in unclassified U.S. government applications for the protection of binary-coded data during the transmission and storage in computer systems and networks, and on a case-by-case basis for the protection of classified information. In the year 2000, NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, announced that Rijn Dahl, a program created by two Belgian cryptographers, had been accepted as the new data encryption standard, or what they would now call it, the Advanced Encryption Standard, AES. Based on the original data encryption standard experience, there is every reason to believe that the Advanced Encryption Standard will not succumb to cryptanalysis, nor will it be overrun by developments in computing. Thank you very much.